Hello students, how are you? So I hope you are all doing just fine in your houses, okay? So before watching this video, please make sure you have already eaten something so that you can really comprehend all the things that I will talk about in this video. Okay, so if not, please make sure to grab something to eat right now. Alright, so let's get started. Now in this video, we are going to talk about our first lesson, which is the nature and elements of communication. But before I formally start, let me share to you our learning objectives for this lesson. We have here, first, define and explain communication, its nature, modes, and elements. The next one, appreciate the importance of knowing more about communication and be able to practice it in their life. Lastly, practice an effective communication by communicating with their teacher and to their fellow students. So I really hope, class, that we can really achieve these objectives. So let's just really help one another. I am doing my part, so I really hope that you will also do your part. So make sure to really finish this video at the very end. So last week, I let you watch a short video about communication, and I also let you answer the following questions. What have you observed from the video? What went wrong in their conversation? And if you were in that situation, how will you resolve the misunderstanding? But since I cannot have a virtual meeting with you right now, so I really cannot hear all of your answers. But I really hope, class, that you really did prepare your answers for those questions, okay? But to those students who were not able to watch the video, do not worry, I will just play it right now. And here's the video.
Mr. President, Condoleezza Rice is here to see you.
Good, send her in.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Oh, Condoleezza, good to see you. What's happening?
Well, Mr. President, I have the report here about the new leader in China.
That's great, Condi. Let's hear it.
Mr. President, who is the new leader of China?
Well, that's what I want to know.
But that's what I'm telling you, Mr. President.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, Condi. Who is the new leader of China?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The guy in China.
Who?
The new leader of China.
Who?
The Chinaman.
Who is leading China, Mr. President?
What are you asking me for?
I'm telling you who is leading China.
Well, I'm asking you, Condi, who is leading China?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Will you or will you not tell me the name of the new leader of China?
Yes, sir.
Yasser? Yasser Arafat is in China? I thought he was in the Middle East.
That's correct, sir.
Then who is in China?
Yes, sir.
Yasser is in China?
No, sir.
Then who is?
Yes, sir.
Yasser?
No, sir.
I need to know the name of the new leader of China, so I want you to get me the Secretary General of the United Nations on the phone.
You want coffee?
No.
You don't want coffee?
No. But now that you mention it, I could use a glass of milk. And then get me the UN.
Yes, sir.
Not Yasser. The guy at the United Nations.
Coffee?
Milk. Will you please make that call?
And call who?
Well, who is the guy at the UN?
No. Who is the guy in China?
Will you stay out of China?
Yes, sir.
And stay out of the Middle East? Just get me the guy at the UN.
Coffee?
Alright. With cream and 2 sugars. Now get on the phone.
Hello. Rice here.
Rice? Good idea. And get a couple of egg rolls too, Condi. Maybe we should send some to the guy in China and the Middle East. Can you get Chinese food in the Middle East? I don't know.
Now, in the video, we can easily tell that their communication failed because the woman failed to communicate using complete sentences, and she also failed to communicate by using the complete names of the people involved. Diba, in the first place, if she just mentioned the complete name of the leader of China, for example, Li Hu is the leader of China. Hagpay to silang nagkasinabot, diba? Agree or not? I hope you all agree. Okay? And you might experience that kind of situation if you do not know how to communicate effectively. So that's why we have this subject, oral communication in context, so that you will be aware on how communication really works and for you to become a better communicator. But the question is, are you willing to improve yourself and become a better communicator? If yes, then our journey on becoming a better communicator now begins. Alright, so to start with, of course, we always ask this question: what is communication? So, communication is a process of sharing and conveying messages or information from one person to another within and across channels, context, media, and cultures. Now, even though I cannot hear your voices right now, still I want you to repeat after me since I want this class to be interactive. Okay, so can you please say communication? Say process. Say passing of information. Lastly, please say communication is the process of passing information. Alright, thank you so much if you really cooperated with me. So again, let me repeat, communication is the process of passing information, ideas, and opinions from one person to another person. So this happens everywhere. For example, just like what we are doing right now, we're in I am passing a certain information towards you. Or it could be that you are talking with your classmates, your family, or sa imong crush, or sa imong boyfriend or girlfriend if you have one. So that is already a form of communication. So I hope you got my point. Now, in order to understand communication deeper, let us discuss its nature. Communication has three nature. First, we have communication is a process. Now, why is it a process? So, communication is a process because it follows a certain pattern or procedure in order to achieve a desirable result. So, particularly, it starts from the sender, and then the sender transmits his or her message to the receiver, and then the receiver understands the message. So, the moment that the receiver understood the message, then that's the time that we can say that they have achieved a desirable result. So as you can see, communication is really active since both the speaker and the receiver take part in the communication process. And as you can imagine, class, communication follows a certain flow. Di ba mura siyang nag-form og circle? That's why communication is cyclical. So I hope that's clear. Next, in nature, we have communication occurs between two or more people. We have the speaker and the receiver. Now remember, class, the speaker and the receiver are the two most important participants in the communication process. So without them, walay communication mahitabo since communication is interactive. So for example, ikaw ug imong crush. Kana if nagstorya mo ha. Pero if wala mo nagstorya, then wala say communication. Because again, communication needs a speaker and a receiver. I hope that's clear. And the last nature we have, communication can be expressed through written or spoken words, actions, nonverbal or both spoken words, and nonverbal actions at the same time. So meaning to say we can communicate in different ways. So it could be through writing, through speaking, or through actions. That's why communication is also considered as symbolic since we use symbols in communicating. Okay? And as what I've mentioned earlier, we communicate in different ways. So that's the reason why we have this thing called communication modes. But the question is, unsa man ang communication modes? What do you mean by this? Okay, so communication modes are actually defined as the ways by which communication can be expressed. It can be through verbal, nonverbal, and written. So let's tackle them one by one. Let's start with the verbal communication. So this refers to the mode of communication that involves speaking. It occurs when you speak or when you use words. It also includes face-to-face communication and communicating through a medium. So again, verbal communication from the word verbal, meaning we use words in communicating. For example, we have here phone calls, cell phone calls, video calls or conference calls, face-to-face conversations or kanang magstorya sila sa personal. So that's verbal communication. You use words in communicating. I hope that's clear. Now, let's proceed to the nonverbal communication. This refers to non-speech type of communication. It is any type of communication that does not include spoken word. It can refer to the way we say the words, surroundings that may affect communication, objects, patterns, and more. Now, nonverbal communication is actually the opposite of verbal communication. So in verbal, diba, we use words. But in nonverbal communication, we do not use words in communication. Instead, we use body signal or kinesics, object signal or artifacts, time signal or chronemics, touch signal or haptics, and the last one, space signal or proxemics. Now, for space signal, this actually pertains to the distance when you are talking to someone else. So for example, when you are talking to your best friend, what would be your distance, near or far? Of course, dool, diba? Since the two of you are close. But what if you are talking to your teacher? Then what would be your distance? Near or far? Of course, medyo layo-layo yun, diba? Because you also have to respect the personal space of your teacher. Kaya medyo dili biya gyud mo suod personally. Okay? So remember, class, distance also matters in communication depending on who you are talking to. I hope that's clear. Now, let's proceed to the last mode of communication we have, written communication. And this refers to communicating through writing. Examples we have here: letters, emails, text messages, memoranda. Okay, so those are the three modes of communication. We have verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and written communication. So I hope that you will remember them all. Okay? Now let's proceed to our last topic for this lesson. We have the elements of communication. The first element we have here is the sender. The sender refers to the source of information or message. So the one who sends the message. So I think this is already very understandable. No need to elaborate na good. Okay, next element we have the message. This one is also very easy. Message refers to the information ideas or thoughts conveyed by the speaker in words or in action. So meaning to say, kung unsa ang gisend sa speaker. So I know that you already know what is meant by the word message. Now let's proceed to the next element. We have here encoding. So unsa man ang encoding? Mo ba nang mag-encode sa laptop or sa computer? Actually not. So in communication, encoding does not refer to that. Instead, this refers to the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms that the speaker understands. So let's make this definition clearer or simpler. So I have here a situation. So just imagine that you are the man in the scenario. Okay, let's say nagigutom kaayo ka and then you are craving for a burger. So, how will you tell your girlfriend about your situation? Diba, first way is you will use words in communicating. So you will say, "Babe, I want to eat some burger. Can you buy me one, please?" Diba? It's so easy to say what you want. Pero let's have a twist in this scenario. Let's say that your girlfriend is deaf, meaning to say bungol siya, di siya kadungog. So how will you convey your message to her? Okay, so that's the time that we will use other forms of communicating. One, a way of communicating without using words is, of course, we will use sign language. Okay, since bungol man imong uyab, so you really have to look for ways on how you can communicate with her. Now, the reason why I included those situation class is for you to realize that no one can see nor read what we are thinking right now. So all of our ideas and thoughts in our mind are considered intangible, meaning to say no one can see it or no one can read it. So if you really want others to know what you are thinking, then you really have to use words, symbols, actions, or you can use pictures or drawings to convey your message, okay? And that, my dear students, is the process of encoding. I hope you got my point. Next element we have here is the channel. This refers to the medium or the means, such as personal or non-personal, verbal or non-verbal, in which the encoded message is conveyed. Now, in simple words, this actually refers to the object or medium that we use to communicate. For example, in our situation right now, since we cannot meet personally, so most of us are just using laptops, cell phones, iPads, or tablets. So those are what we called channels. So the medium or object that we use in order to send a message or in order to communicate. So I hope you got my point. Next element we have here is the receiver. So this one is really very obvious. Receiver is, of course, the recipient of the message or someone who decodes the message. So kung kinsa ang mo receives the message. Okay? I hope that's clear. Now let's proceed to the next element we have here, decoding. Decoding refers to the process of interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver. Now, decoding and encoding are somewhat similar, but the main difference of the two is that encoding is done by the speaker while decoding is done by the receiver. So meaning to say, in simple words, decoding is the process of understanding the symbols, signals, or the message that was sent by the speaker to the receiver. So let's take this example earlier. Diba? In this situation, the man was really craving to eat a burger. So in order to convey his message to his girlfriend, he used words first. We have, "Babe, I want to eat some burger. Can you buy me one, please?" And in the second scenario, since his girlfriend was deaf or bungol, di siya kadungog, so he used sign language in order to convey his message. And after doing this one, so that's the time that his girlfriend was able to decode the message that he said. Okay, so the girlfriend already understood that the boy wants to eat a burger. And that, my dear students, is the process of decoding. Okay, so let's have another example. So let's say if I will say the house is big. So what can you picture out? Diba? Dako na balay. Okay. How about if I will do this one? What meaning can you get from this action? It could be okay and not okay. Okay, so again, that's the process of decoding, students. So you try to get meaning from the words, symbols, and signals that was given to you. So I hope you got my point. Now let's proceed to the next element, which is the feedback. Now, feedback refers to the reactions, responses, or information provided by the receiver. Now, in simple words, feedback refers to the positive or negative response or criticism given by the receiver to the sender in order to improve the communication process. So it could be a compliment or it could also be a criticism. So for example, if I talk like this, feedback refers to the reaction, responses, or information provided by the receiver. Now, what could be your initial feedback? Of course, you will say, hinahinay lang ma, mahina ang kalaban. Because I talk way too fast. So as a speaker, I need to adjust my pace so that you can also understand what I'm saying. Okay, so that's the importance of feedback. It improves the communication process. Okay, so I hope you got my point. Okay, so let's proceed to the next element, and we have here is the context. Now, context refers to the environment where communication takes place. So, kung asa mo nagstorya. So, it could be physical in nature, like literal, kung asa mo. It could be inside the classroom, inside the mall, in your houses, or in the park. Anywhere basta na ay communication. And context could also be cultural in nature. So meaning to say, the environment of communication also varies if you are talking with people who come from a different cultural background. So, bisag napaka sa Pilipinas, if you are talking to a foreigner, then most of good siya since you have to adjust or adapt your way of communicating according to what is appropriate to their culture. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Now let's proceed to the last element. So we have the barrier. So barrier refers to the factors that affect the flow of communication. So meaning to say, maura na siya nagdaog samok. So same with our situation right now, this online distance learning. Our main barrier is actually our internet connection, diba? Sige lang ka disconnect. And if there are too much barriers, then there's a higher possibility that we really cannot achieve an effective communication. So kung sige lang disconnect, of course, wala good tayo masabtan. Diba? Okay, so that's why I am doing this instructional video para at least ma-lessen na to ang barrier. So kung wala ka internet karon, then you can watch this tomorrow. Or if ikapoy ka karon, then you can watch this the next day. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Alright, so before I end this video, let's have a quick review first. So, identify what is being asked in the following slides. The first question, it refers to the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms that the speaker understands. So, what's the answer? The answer is encoding. Very good. Next, this refers to the reactions, responses, or information provided by the receiver. The answer is feedback. Very good if you got the right answer. Next, this refers to the process of sharing and conveying messages or information from one person to another within and across channels, context, media, and cultures. So the answer is communication. That's great. Next, this refers to non-speech type of communication It is any type of communication that does not include spoken word. So from the word does not include spoken word, the answer is nonverbal communication. Next, this refers to the process of interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver. So what's the answer? We have decoding. Perfect. Next, this refers to the source of information or message. Very easy. The answer is, of course, the sender. And this refers to the recipient of the message or someone who decodes the message. So from the word decodes, we have the receiver. Okay, next, so this refers to communicating through writing. From the word writing, we have written communication. Next, this refers to the information, ideas, or thoughts conveyed by the speaker in words or in actions. So what's your answer? We have the message. Okay, so next, this refers to the medium or the means such as personal or non-personal, verbal or non-verbal in which the encoded message is conveyed. So the keyword there is medium, so we have channel. Next, this refers to the mode of communication that involves speaking. It occurs when you speak or when you use words. So from the word when you use words, we have verbal communication. Alright, so that ends our video for today. So before I end this one, let me share this one to you first. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. Again, as what I always say, hang on and never give up. Okay, so thank you so much, class, for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Okay, so goodbye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.